right. Welcome.
Yes.
You are hanging out with us tonight for the Neo Report Unfiltered for our second episode, our second week in a row, where we are attempting to bring to our people the information that is needed
Yes.
for us to survive. I am your host, Dr. J.W. Winborn. And of course, our lovely co host is the wonderful historian, the great, the magnificent, the incomparable Queen Amina. Welcome, Queen.
Peace and love. How's everybody doing? How are you, Doc?
Oh, man, I'm good. I'm excited about today's broadcast. We got a lot of information, a lot of stuff that we need to share with everybody about what's going on, what's happening, and how things are accumulating, or how things are coming together based off of what we see going on TV, what we see going on in the news and all around us. How are we factoring that into our day-to-day experience? And what are we preparing ourselves for as we see all of these things happening? Are we just looking around? Are we just being bystanders? You know, they say that there's those that wonder what happened. Then there's those that watch what happened. And then there are those that make things happen. So we always try to be in the boat of trying to make something happen and make something available
Right.
for our people. And that's our primary objective. That's why we're here. Because I realize, even if no one else realizes, that we are under attack as
Yes.
a people.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
not only just here in America, but globally, all around the world, we see this going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's more prevalent here because we are experiencing it. We are experiencing it real time ourselves. What's happening here isn't anything that we are watching on TV. We are watching it on TV, but we're seeing it happen outside of our window. We see it happening as we are walking down the street. But I want to congratulate our people because we haven't lost it yet. You know,
Right.
and I heard Pastor Jamal Bryant
Yes.
this week out of Atlanta, one of my more favorable young preachers. There's not a lot of them. They're on a real short list.
Right. 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 Yeah,
He been
he's
on that
powerful.
list a
He's
couple of
powerful.
times too. But he said some truth this week.
Oh, yeah.
What could they do to us that we haven't already been through?
Exactly.
None of this is new. None of
Not
this
at
is
all.
new. We have nothing to worry. We've survived much worse. We've gone through much harder times. All right. And so what we want to talk about tonight, Queen, is the bait, the bait, the bait, the bait that's being put out, right, to get us to respond so that they can move their agenda forward.
Right.
Now, we believe that at the end of the day, that agenda is horrific. We talking FEMA camps, we talking no food, we talking shortages and all of these things. But they need, look like, and Queen, help me if I'm wrong, they need for certain things to happen to be in place
Oh, yes.
before they can do it. We want to welcome our guest commentator, contributor, contributor to the stage, the one and only Dr. Ron L. Robertson, with us today, looking like a wannabe Cornell West. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Cornell always said to me, he said, "Don't let anybody mix me up with you because you know I'm better looking." I said, "Brother, you are. You're much better looking than me." Queen, it's so good to see you, Queen Amina.
How are you?
How are
It's
you?
good to see you, Reverend Ron. Yes.
Yes. It's always a pleasure to be with both of you, Dr. Winborn, Queen Amina, as well. Yes,
Thank you for being with us tonight.
definitely. The imitation, Dr. Cornell West. I hope you see this. I'm not imitating you, brother. Just got a bad hair day.
It's all good.
Yes. There you go.
It's all good.
Yes.
So tonight, just to bring everybody up to date, and I see that we have another guest commentator that's joining us. The president of the Local 26, the wonderful Sadie Gomez, who does a show earlier on Sunday evenings with the Ethiopian World Federation. We are going to, I think we're going to invite her to the stage. Look like a camera just dropped out. She's backstage, so when she's ready, we're going to bring her on. But we've been talking about all of the different things that I think is they have been trying to happen. And one of the things is what I call bait. Okay? Different baitings that they're using to try to rile us up. And one of the first things I noticed, one of the first things they did was just talk about the elimination of the Department of Education, which would end federal oversight on public education standards and then redirect funds away from historically Black colleges. And this is something that they've already have been talking about for some time, doing this. So although that doesn't seem like a lot, but it's the little pieces. We welcome Empress Gomez to the show. Empress Gomez, say hello to everybody. Can you hear? Wave your hands and say hi. I hope that her camera frees up.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah,
like her camera froze up. All right, when she come back, we get her back on. This is something that's small, but it has the ability to get bigger and bigger. Now, I kind of like, and if I'm honest with myself, I do kind of like have some mixed emotions about this, right? Because I have said that for many years, our educational system has done nothing to help our children, but have made, instead of expanding their knowledge, but have only made them teach them to be laborers in the workforce, as opposed to being entrepreneurs or as opposed to being able to do something for themselves. I remember when I was coming up, and Dr. Robinson, you may remember this too, or this may be after your time. Queen may not remember, but when I was going to school, then high school, they used to have vocational schools.
Yes. I remember that.
Yes.
Right, you remember that?
Yes, I do remember that.
You remember that?
My boyfriend went to a vocational high school.
Right, and the vocational high school was teaching you a trade. Yes. So you could come out of the school, you was a plumber, you was an electrician.
Yes.
Right? You remember that, yes. Dr. Robinson?
Oh, yes.
When you came out of your school, you were Whatever. I don't want to crack no jokes. I won't be
My
funny.
my 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 cousin, who's younger than me, went to an aviation school in the Bronx. They actually had. He told me, he said, "Man, they got an airplane in the middle of the school," and I said, "Man, I gotta go see that." He took me up there, the aviation school, and they actually had an airplane, and they were teaching aviation, you know.
Right.
So there was a lot. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
way much more going on then than was going on now. I mean, unfortunately, recently in the last, I want to say, probably the last 20 years, maybe longer, but they sought to get rid of the vocational education programs because they knew that, of course, little black and brown young men, specifically young men, but then young girls were getting into it as well. But when they came out, when they graduated, they had a salary that they could make. They would be able to
Right.
support themselves. Every time we went
Right.
back to high school reunion and we would run into the knuckleheads who, were more vocational than educational. And they had their own companies and they're their own plumbers and electricians and carpenters and what have you. And the rest of us were like, wow, they literally make more money than we do, even though we're considered professional, but they make way more money than we do. So I think that was one of their ploys yet again, to destabilize people and
Right.
to not offer the same level of opportunity to high school students that were not college bound, because not everybody was college bound, and that's fine. But as long as you had something else to fall back on, you would be all right.
Right.
So slowly but surely they're taking all these different things away. Same thing happened even in New Jersey when they began to get rid of vocational education in New Jersey, predominantly in Newark and in Irvington and predominantly black areas, whereas they still had a trade school in Teaneck that was teaching
Right.
plumbing to young high school men and electrician work as well. So the hood couldn't get it, but the upper class neighborhood, they were the ones that got that program, and it continued. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
We didn't get that.
Listen, what they tried to make us do is, again, like I said, just be a part of the labor force. Right. There's no education. I remember. I almost don't want to say this. I remember graduating high school early. Right.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Because I was quote unquote smarter than the other students. I got my credits early. I got out. I went straight into college and realized when I got a job that summer going out by myself, I didn't know anything.
You
I
didn't
didn't
know
know
it, huh?
anything.
You were like, uh-oh.
Like, uh-oh, what happened? I didn't go to class that day. How come I don't know trigonometry? How come I don't know advanced geometry,
Right.
Right.
geology? How
Right.
come I don't know what the capital of Spain is? How come I don't know this?
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
I came out. I didn't know anything. I thought I was smart, and I'm thinking, so if I got out ahead of them and I don't know anything, what kind of condition are we in?
Well,
Exactly.
I think it also goes to where we went to school, because unfortunately public education was not equal or equilateral across the board throughout. I mean, okay, we're from New York City, so all the schools in all of New York and all of the five boroughs were never equal. We always had a difference in our education.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where other things come into play, where students like myself, after elementary school, I only went to white schools. I only went to white junior high school, white high school.
Mm.
immediately after elementary school and junior high school. Junior high school was when I first began to commute into the white neighborhood to go to school. And it took us an hour and like an hour and 40 minutes to get to school on the bus every day. Like I literally had to get out of the house at least by 6:30 so I
Hmm.
could get to school by 8.
Okay.
Okay, and we were going to the white neighborhood. All right, I went from St. Albans to Bayside.
Okay.
All right, on
Yeah.
the bus, we had to take 2 buses. It was a journey. You were exhausted by the time you even got to school.
Right.
But we had different classes. We had different teachers. We had different programs. So Cardozo High School was a pre-law and a performing arts high school. I did both. I did pre-law and performing arts. All right, where my friends that were going to maybe Andrew Jackson High School in Cambridge Heights were not getting the same experience. And it's sad to say, but that is a reality in our educational system. So it's really boggling now that they want to get rid of the Department of Education because Elon's main mission is to privatize everything.
Everything.
Privatize school,
Everything.
privatize jail,
The
privatize
the the,
whatever he
the
can.
post office. The
Right,
post
the post.
office. Everything.
Okay.
The post office. Now, see, here's the thing that took me about the post office. Because what a lot of people don't know is that the post office is the real bank.
Right, right. Postmaster, stamps.
Right? That's the
Yes,
real bank.
right. It's a different federal
It's a whole
branch.
different thing. So now you're going to take that and privatize it. And we all know what happens when they start privatizing things.
It falls
We know
apart.
what happened when they tried to privatize when they privatized the prisons.
It
Once
falls
they
apart.
privatized the prisons, they put it and came out with IPOs and put it on the stock market. Now you have a publicly traded organization, a company. That company needs to grow, right? How does that company grow? By inventory. What is the inventory?
Prisoners,
Prisoners.
people,
So now,
people.
the people. So now you got to get people into the prison, into the system. So what do now? You change the law and you criminalize things that they have already been doing. You make them illegal so that you can start backing your stock.
True. You know what else they're doing though? Because as long as you continue to disenfranchise people and take away their livelihood in a drastic moment, and say they live in a $500,000 house and their mortgage is anywhere between $5,000 and $7,000 a month. When you put that kind of pressure, we talked about this last week. When you put that kind of pressure on specific people, they do not do well.
Right.
They don't just adapt and
Because they can't adapt that well. They're not used to it. They just aren't. We're going to see, look like we have, mhm. Welcome, you dropped off for a second. We're going to try to bring in
Oh, I'm back. I'm
another
sorry.
guest commentator, Sadie Gomez. We're going to bring her in at this time. Welcome to the Neo Report Unfiltered.
Hi,
Peace.
how
Peace.
y'all doing?
How are you?
Well, how are you?
I'm good. Good to see you, Queen Amina
It's nice to see you.
and
Good
Dr.
to,
Robinson.
good
But
to see you as well.
I'm on my way to Harlem to meet up with Ross Iron and Shiloh to go to the Shambard.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
You
so I'm
going
just
with
happy to
Nice.
know you on. Looking good, Dr. Winborn. Or is it
well,
Charlie on this side?
that's the other show.
Okay,
I'm
all
Charlie.
right. Many hats.
But I want to share something with you, sister, before you go. There's another exhibit at Aaron Davis Hall.
Where?
Yeah, they're having a program tomorrow. My girlfriend is a quilter, and her work is being um exhibited at Aaron Davis Hall. And they're having a big
Okay.
reception tomorrow, all day long from 1 o'clock, I think.
Wow. Tomorrow I was planning to
Yeah,
go
you
to
might want to
see
try to
some other.
catch it.
You want to try to go?
I can't go.
Oh, you can.
No, I would love
Wow.
to be able to go. I can't go tomorrow. But tomorrow's another one of her dates. So, just off the cuff, but if you happen to not be busy, it's free.
Okay. So text me the info, Queen.
Okay, I will.
All right, please. Dr. Robinson, I
Yes.
hope you're ready. I hope you're ready for Sunday because I see you warming up very nicely on Friday night.
Yeah, I'm getting myself together here on
You know,
these big time, all these
Sunday's a
big time
different
talk shows.
Sunday's a different kind of love.
There you go. Holla. There
Yep.
you go. I'm learning. I'm learning.
Okay.
Give
I,
thanks.
I, I see you out with the big dog.
Yeah, I'm learning. I'm getting moving on up on the east side.
Okay. All right. So take care now. Good luck and congratulations, Dr. Winborn. Congratulations.
Give thanks. Thank you. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you for blessing us with your cameo. And
Oh,
we are so grateful. Listen, just in case everybody don't know, we're all members of the same local and within the Ethiopian World Federation, local number 26 in Harlem. And this is our illustrious president of that local. And they have a show on Sunday nights, the Woman Auxiliary. So you're here now. Tell them a little bit about the show before you leave and before we get back to the content. Tell them a little bit about
well,
the Women's Auxiliary and the show that you host.
this is Lady Gomez of Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated, local number 26, president of local number 26. And we do a show on Sunday nights, Sunday evenings. We hang out with the family. We keep it warm and spiritual. We keep it informative. We have a laughter going on at time. And everyone has fun from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's what we do. We look at the news and what is interesting, we would examine it. And sometimes we have to put it back. So that's what we do. Wonderful family evening. And then on the later part of the hour, we have the musicians coming on. That's the musical unit of Local 26. And that's a very exciting part of the program that lasts from 8 p.m. to 9. So we're looking forward to seeing you all. And big welcome to Local 26. Give thanks
Give thanks.
back to your
Give
lovely
thanks.
host.
Give
That's
thanks. Give
one.
thanks. Give
Okay.
thanks. All right. So we are grateful for Empress Gomez visiting with us as we are moving along. Sound like I hear something crackling
I know.
in the background, trying to figure out what that noise is.
It's
Anyway,
like water or something.
yeah,
Hmm.
something.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, let's talk about some of the other things that the bait that I call us out there. Okay. And that is our second bait that we want to talk about is the freezing of new cases and investigations. And this decision raises concerns about the future of the civil rights enforcement. So they stopped the investigation. You cannot give any more civil rights complaints. Okay, they're not doing any new investigations or anything of that nature. Hold on, I can't take that noise. I can't. I don't know where it's coming from. It was driving me up a wall.
Yeah.
I thought it had started when Sister Sadie came on. I'm not sure. I didn't
Yeah.
hear it before that.
Yeah. With the air. Um, maybe you could. She was outside, so maybe have to alleviate. I don't know if she's still.
Oh yeah, no, she dropped off,
Uh,
so there's nobody here but
Just
us.
us.
It's just us. So if it's a problem, it's us. All right. So again, I see this as bait. Bait because they need a riot. All right. Because I'm of the opinion that they're trying to get us out into the street. If you notice that they've been having protests, they had a big one here in New York yesterday, right? You will also notice that we have not been to any of these protests as a people. You can point us out 1, 2 in the crowd. When you look at the videotapes, we just are not there. All right. And so it seemed like to me, they're doing things just trying to get us to come out and begin to protest and begin to demonstrate. And why do I say that? If you notice, they've been very peaceful. You ain't seen no guards. You ain't been no tanks out there. Ain't been no cops in riot gear looking like the military. You haven't seen any of that out there. But the moment we go out there, we can expect for that military force to come out. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I believe, guys, that the bigger plan is to cause martial law.
That's a possibility. But what I'm saying, first of all, is that the main people who are out demonstrating are not us. As you said, it's just a few of us in the crowd. Most of these people are not us. There's a few reasons for that. A lot of us don't like the cold, to be honest. And a lot of us are trying to just go to work because we got to go to work. Now, the economic boycott that we did at the end of February, that was pretty good because Target is in trouble.
Right.
Target is having a very, very, very difficult time. And the more we just don't support these other companies, they get the hint. Now, we did have a very large 60th anniversary of the March on Washington from Selma, across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Hundreds and hundreds of us were out there.
Hundreds, almost look like thousands almost.
That was
off
major.
the bridge, right. But not as a protest, as a celebration, as
a little bit of both. Actually, I think it's a little bit of both.
You think so?
You know what I'm saying? It's a celebration, but at the same time, it is a demonstration because we're still fighting for the same things that we've been fighting for 60 years ago. We're still getting beat up by the police. We're still getting killed by the police. We're still being disenfranchised against. We're still, still dealing with the same situations. So I think in a way it was a demonstration as well as the celebration of the march, the Selma March. But no, people were out there with an attitude about what's going on right now, because one thing I am noticing, and I'm grateful for this, because the courts have been shooting him down like a bug. The courts have been slamming them to the ground. We had thousands of people just got reinstated into their positions again who were fired. You had the black woman that was the head of the National Labor Board. She got her job back. She went back to work. So a lot of these things are not working for them. Okay, this is the reason why you have stupid white Republican men talking about, I'm going to go buy a Tesla to support Elon.
You can't even afford to buy the eggs.
He needs your help. He don't need your help. First of all, he's got over 30 government contracts. We pay him. He ain't broke.
What a scam.
It's disgusting. It is disgusting.
Yeah.
And then, as I said before, we're watching a neo-Nazi takeover. That is really what we're participating in. We are watching that right now. Both of these men had fathers that were white supremacists and neo-Nazis. You think the apple ain't falling far from the tree?
Absolutely not.
They
And you know,
found that
you formulate your opinions and stuff around the ages of 5 to 7, 8 years old.
they
And at that time, that's all he heard coming from his parents.
yeah they connected PayPal, Corporation PayPal, to neo-Nazism in Europe. And you know, the owners of PayPal is Elon Musk's cousin and his brother. And then they start to investigate. This New York Times
Right.
Journalist investigation. They found out that they're all connected to, like Queen Amina said, neo-Nazism and communism. And so,
Yes.
and this white supremacy group. And I was telling people, the white supremacy groups, they connect across the world. Europe, Canada,
Absolutely.
America, all Africa. They're connected themselves all over the world. And so it's not just people think it's pockets in different parts of different countries. No, they're connected. They meet every June. They were showing on one report on television I was watching. They meet every June, and they have these major something like a convention, if you will, and they all meet in different parts of the world. They meet sometimes in Europe, different countries in Europe. They meet in America. They meet in Canada. They meet big place in many places. And these are key people in corporations, major owners of big companies, and so they have a major impact. And so, and that's why you see so much. Y'all were talking about the marches and the marches and whatnot that's going on now. It's basically centered around what? Ukraine and Russia, Israel, and Palestine, right? That's where the major marches, the major rebellious marches going on right now centered around those two things. And if you watch those two things, they are centered around communism and white supremacy as well. It has those groups that involve, and like y'all was saying, that they're creating this environment to get a reaction, and they're trying to. In America, they have alleviated, like you said, so many regulatory agencies, watchdog agencies, so many of our infrastructure that we had to protect us is gone. And so they want you to do certain things. I've seen so many times now, I don't know if people notice, where men are unalived by corrections or police officers on live video, where you can see it so boldly done. I've seen a
It's
child.
like they don't even care. It's like they don't even care.
Yeah, I seen two children. One young boy, they said he stole a bag of potato chips, and the cops was putting him in the police car, and he was crying. He was like he's 8 or 9 years old.
8 or 9 years old. I saw that. It's horrible.
And the man came up. The man said, "What happened?" And they said he took the potato. The man said, "I'll pay for it." And they didn't, they said, number one,
they wanted the child to go through the trauma. You understand? Is the biopsychological trauma that they want to enforce on people. So if you look at when the police come, right? You got pulled over because you got I don't know, your backlight is out in your car. So they pulled you over. Why they need 3, 4, 5 police cars come for something that's not a criminal matter? It's just a quote unquote traffic violation, which is not even a violation unless it's consensual, right? They want to put in your mind that you are overwhelmed, that there is no way that you can win. We will over police you. We will stop you in the street, bring 20 cops to you, start yelling all different type of orders. Sit down, turn around, put your hands up, back up, all at one time. You confused, man grab you, your natural instinct is to protect yourself. If you do that, if you quench when he grab you, stop resisting. Right? They got it down to art. So now they're creating a narrative to put charges on you. You know what I mean? Well, he resisted. Well, what was his resistance? He pulled away when I grabbed him. Oh, he resisted? Yeah. He put his hand up and blocked his face while I was trying to punch him in his face. So he resisted arrest. He's supposed to lay there and wait for me to finish punching him in his face and stomping him until I was satisfied. I mean, he wouldn't have had that charge. You understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of like it's to a certain degree, it's rigged and they know what they're doing. Now, another thing that I think is bait is the fact that they're doing this police immunity thing, giving full immunity to the police. That's bait. They're already doing what they want to do. They're already killing us in the street when they want to do the street. The man will tell you, I got a camera. I got one on too. You understand what I'm saying? They done got bold with it.
Right. When you talked about removing regulatory agencies, removing legal guidelines, how you behave, like I said, now the little 11-year-old girl was walking to school. Cops stopped her, say that she looked like a person that stole a car. Are you kidding me? 11-year-old girl walking to school, and they proceeded to try to occult her. Now, the regulatory agencies and anybody would tell you, any child, before a police officer touches her, he's supposed to contact their parent. That's a legal procedure.
We all know that.
Right. But like you said, as they move all of the rights that we have, all of the recourse that we have, giving immunity, total immunity to police officers, removing all the civil rights organizations and the legal rights organizations to have a recourse, now the cops feel emboldened to do all these things. Now you're noticing a lot of violations that cops are putting on young people. They're going into schools and taking 5-year-old, 6-year-old kids out of school with handcuffs.
Organized trauma.
Yes. Yes.
Organized trauma.
Never contacting the
Is there a
parents
way
in
we
the
can
school.
go out and come back in?
The school is responsible. The school is responsible. The school is responsible.
It's very hard to hear it, and I know if someone's trying to hear, they're going to hang up because they're going to not be able to hear clearly.
All right.
Like maybe should we go out and come back in real quick? Like just go out and come back in without it. Do you hear it?
Well, I don't hear it now, which means that
now it's going again.
Because I do hear it when you speak.
Something, it starts. Is it? It's not the film, right? It couldn't be the film.
Because it was
it
was fine earlier when we first came on. It was good.
Right. It's got to be some type of a mic thing. I'm not sure. I don't know if maybe going out and coming back in will help. Why don't we go out one at a time and come back in and see how that works out?
Okay, use the same link to come back in?
One at a time. And see if that works.
So use the same link?
Yeah, same link.
All right. And I'm going to get my charger. Okay.
All right. All righty. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we know and we see now that guess what? It's not my mic. It's not my mic. So listen, you're stuck with me until they come back. We have to be so careful because, in my opinion, as I've said to others, that they're trying to bait us into the street. They're trying to bait us into a reality that will lead us into martial law. Now, this is just my opinion. Some people may say that I'm crazy. Some people may say that I'm going overboard. Some people say that I'm making this up and it doesn't make any sense to go that route. Maybe, maybe not. But when we look at the things that are happening, when we look at the things that they are doing, you tell me what else we supposed to be able to pull out of that. All right? You tell me. If you look and you use any uh, um, insight at all, and you look what they're doing, you think that it's a mistake that they're talking about giving the police full immunity? You think it's a mistake that they want to get rid of the DEI? You think it's a mistake? It's not a mistake. The mistake is that they've miscalculated. That's the mistake. The mistake is they thought that all of these things that was happening was going to hurt us. It's not hurting us. It's not us on the internet crying. It's not us on the internet moaning and complaining and asking people to help out. And we don't understand why black people not. It's not us doing these things. It's everybody else that's doing them. Why? Because we knew. We'd been through this before. We saw what was coming down the pike. We tried to tell y'all. Dr. Robinson,
Yes.
we tried to tell them.
Yes.
What was going to happen if they put this man back in office.
Yes.
So I don't understand why they're surprised now. The whole state of Nebraska is upset because they believe that they're going to lose the whole state. There's no farming going on. All of these tariffs and everything that have happened have caused them to be in such a awkward predicament. And then they are asking, how come nobody is helping? How come?
This was a long time in infrastructure disaster waiting to happen. This was something that they've been planning for a long time. They talked about it, all these provisions and all these protections, and they were talking about the civil rights movement, the civil rights laws, the civil rights department. If you go back 3-4 years ago, you go back to 2016 when he got in, he didn't do as much as he did now because he was trying to get in, 2015, 2016. So he didn't elevate himself to that level of understanding what he had planned to do. But now that, his the second term, he got in with what he considered, tremendous numbers. He came in with the understanding that I'm going to deregulate, I'm going to disseminate, I'm going to destroy everything that have to do with any legal protection for those people of color. And my personal opinion is that the targeted population, the targeted community is the African American community. And I always said, when you look at this big immigration thing, and Dr. Claude Anderson talked about how they would miss you into something, try to make you a part of something that's easy to disseminate. It's easy to get people to agree that immigration is a problem, it's a financial problem, why you ain't got a job, look, all the people coming illegal, all that stuff is smokes and mirrors. And now they went to El Salvador, right? And they told El Salvador what? Would you take all our criminals? Okay, at the point of saying that they were sending so-called, criminal immigrants back to El Salvador, but they asked him, would he take all of them, and offered him, I think somebody said, $2,500 a head or something like that for everybody he would take. Now, what that means, taking criminals, when you create it in the African American community, we are looked upon as criminals. Right? As soon as they see you in a store, as soon as they see you driving down the street, the cops approach you with a criminal, like you're a criminal type of behavior. The way they treat these children All this stuff is criminality, and as you say, it's often off a dramatic experience, but at the same time, it makes you feel like you're a criminal when the behavior, the way you're treated. So all these things were to me was in a long. I think the whole system of America from the beginning of time, when the slaves, got emancipated, they've been discovering ways to retrieve whatever power, whatever money, whatever influence that they felt that they need to have. And this is the time coming. This is the we're seeing the development of it, of something that been planned for hundreds and hundreds of years. And here we go now. Everything
It's
is,
here now.
and then the
Right.
weird thing to me is there's no, how can you come in and disseminate a legal standing position, a governmental, the civil rights commissions, the civil rights organizations, the civil rights is embedded into the legal system in America. It's a part of the legal standing. How can he come in and disseminate it like that without any legal recourse? Like you found now, a lot of the judges are putting people back to work, right? They fired all these people in the federal government, but now the judges in the states legally are saying that you can't do that. The same thing I'm saying. How can he disseminate so easily? It's a participation. So the Senate, the Congress, the House
Oh
have to be
yes,
participating.
yes,
But that's
yes.
where the problem comes in, because all three of them are in charge. If we had a little leverage somewhere, it might be a little different, but we kind of don't, because the Senate, the Congress, and the president are all Republican. But what I am seeing, though, honestly speaking, you have Republicans in southern and midwestern states that are getting their asses chewed out by their own people. And it is not likely that that individual will be reelected when their term comes up to be reelected. People are disgusted and angry. So as long as they stay complicit with whatever it is that Donald Trump wants them to do, they're not going to get reelected. A lot of them won't get reelected because, unfortunately, their constituents who are uh, white people who are not wealthy people, okay, like poor people, they're very angry, or people who are receiving any type of services from the government, any kind. Okay, whether they have a terminally ill child or a severely disabled child that receives Medicaid, or they've got a great grandmother who's got to be on Medicare, whatever. Those people receive services. A lot of people receive services. Somehow, I kind of think a combination of two things. I feel like, number one, they didn't think hard enough. And number two, I think that they really
Hard
just
enough.
didn't care. They didn't care. They really just didn't care. So whoever it
Listen,
was
you know
going to
what? You know what I
affect.
thought about, Queen? You're right. They didn't care, and they voted against their own interest. They may have even known that they were voting against their own interests, but they believed it was hurting another demographic.
I mean, that
Just like I
could be
say,
possible too. I'm not going to.
you think
I
about
won't.
the
I won't
Civil
negate that.
War. You think about the Civil War. You think about all the white people fighting in the Civil War to maintain slavery that never owned a slave.
Oh yeah, I can dig that.
Couldn't afford a slave. Not slaves, a slave. But they was willing to put their life on the line and die to maintain white supremacy. In a lot of ways, this is the exact same thing that we see going on now.
Yeah,
I think now it's a little bit more combinative, though. I think now we got way too much stuff in the pot. You have pieces of that. You have pieces of people who honestly did not believe that he had anything to do with Project 2025 because he said he didn't. Okay, you
right.
got black and white people who feel that way. But compared to 1865, 1863, you know how many interracial couples we have in this country? We got more interracial couples in the South than in the North.
Yeah.
You got mad interracial couples on Air Force bases and the Army bases and the Marine. Seriously. So, unlike 1863, yes, you might have had a little bit of that, but it was quiet. Now it's rampant. It's everywhere. It's in entertainment. It's in sports. It's in basketball and football, right? How many of those big black men have little white wives? So it's a little different now because we are a little bit more intermingled with each other. I mean, I see it so clearly. Even when I would travel all across this country, back and forth and up and down, all I saw so many racial couples, and I saw many, many black and white people as best friends. I'm so serious. And where I live here in PA, is here. You have a lot of interracial couples here. I teach and deal with so many interracial children. So part of me feels like, okay, I know they've been, they had this plan on the books for a minute. But part of me believes that they're late. Because you're going to try to do more stuff. But the people are going to revolt against that. Now, even if you choose to try to institute martial law, we'll see what happens with that, honestly. But I think that the plan is even more sinister, unfortunately.
All right, tell us. I mean, this is
you know what I'm saying? I think I honestly feel that it has to also do with individuals who participated in that vaccine program.
Okay.
Because all you have to do is change frequency, and you will spark and ignite those people in a very different kind of way. That technology is out and it is real. And that's why they wanted to push it so hard. They wanted everybody to have it so that when they go to 6G, 7G, people are going to bug out. This is an exercise that has been planned and studied by the CIA. They know how to implement a pandemic in order to implement a vaccine program that's going to alter people's DNA. This is not like the MMR we got in 1972. It's not like that at all.
Right.
And we
right.
have a government and we have a system in place with these wealthy idiots where they are Malthusiasts. They believe that there's too many people on the planet. They believe that a certain amount of people got to go. I was like,
they really
ahead.
do.
But okay,
right.
Now I know what you mean because I saw your
right.
operation. So here we are, right? We've got the idiot in charge who put Kennedy, who has no medical doctor, no nothing. He's got no nothing. All he's got is money and a bad past drug habit. That's all he has. And you put him in charge of HHS, right?
Pass.
Hey,
he sound like something. He listen. He sound like
it's all possible. It is all. We are in the land of
he sound like Ozzy Osbourne. When he be talking, he sound like Ozzy Osbourne to me.
I'm like, we have to realize that when you look at
he's not well.
When you look at the early 1800s, right? Look at black people. We were all mixed because of the mixing of the master with the female slaves, as well as the master's wife with the slave males, right? So when you look at post Reconstruction, when we had those 2,000 men in government, 2,000 what they call them statesmen back then, you look at them, they look like white men, but they were black men. And so there was a mixing of the culture. There was a mixing of in terms of people looking white and stuff like that. And so there might have been a more acceptance at that time of them in terms of getting into government. But then when they found out that they were abolitionists, they start to move on them and to move them out of office by force.
Right. And
Now,
then Jim Crow was born.
right.
Jim Crow
And
was
remember,
born.
we didn't start participating in social services, you know, Social Security, retirement, welfare, whatever you want to call it, until probably somewhere around the early or middle 1960s. You know,
Yes,
we started
we were not allowed to participate. We weren't allowed
right.
to participate in that
So
program.
white America always felt that no matter what happens, they're going to come out. They're going to come out better than us. They, you know, don't matter what the government had their back. The government's going to protect them. And subsequently, even today, you look at the mega crowd. They truly believe that there is an intent to keep them in flourishing economically, socially, keeping them going. After all these programs were, like you said, these programs was attacking social economics, those at the lower end of the spectrum economically. And so, and you find that most of the mega people were those people at the working class, the people with fixed incomes, Social Security, retirement, welfare, etc. Because most of them are on welfare and most of them are on social programs. They felt that when they talked about how they're going to move this and move that, their mindset was they're going to do that only to the blacks. They're not going to touch us. We're not going to be touched. And then when it started to happen, and like Dr. Winborn said, now you see them on a video talking about, oh, please, you know, the eggs are too high and I can't live. I've seen a man and his daughter on a video crying. He lost his federal job. Yes, he lost his federal job. He didn't know what he was going to do. And him and his daughter sitting there crying because they really thought that one spectrum of the community of the government, one that, you know, we were going to be, all black people were going to be affected and that they were going to be protected, and it don't work that way. You know, it does not work that way.
It did not work that way at all.
At all.
Yep, it did not work out the way they planned.
Not at all.
But they needed that rude awakening. They need to see that we all in this boat together. And if I'm po, you po, we struggling, it's all of us. Ain't no such thing as keeping one person over here down and picking somebody else up. When they hit it, they hit everybody. So it's good that they know now that the structure, and a lot of them are turning around and saying, you know what, if I would have known what I know now, I would never supported him. You know.
Too late, baby. Too late. Y'all done did it now. Don't
there you go.
come crying to me.
But I do, you know, I see a silver
concerned.
lining around this cloud.
Say that again.
I see a silver lining around this cloud.
Okay. Well, I mean, listen, the silver lining that I see is I refer back to the scripture that says that the devil meant it for bad, but God meant it for good, right? So there's some good come out of it because we were forced in a situation where we now have to do for ourselves. So those silver linings exist, if those are the silver linings that you're referring to.
Well, my silver lining is a piece of that, but also that there's a level of enlightenment that's going to come as a result of all of this mayhem. People are beginning to open their eyes. People are beginning to understand certain things, even about history, European history, so on and so forth, that is being let out. White people are talking about Black people's accomplishments and what we've done and how we had to deal under the heel of massa and how horrible that was and what really, really happened. So although they are fighting so hard to keep the information away from people, they don't want to teach AP African studies, blah, blah, blah. But listen, baby, a lot of us already have the books. We are an AP African studies class right here in the house. And anybody who wants to get it can get it. Just let us know. And ta-da, we will have a Zoom. We will do whatever. We'll read a whole book if we have to. But we have this information. This is another reason why I'm so hard on books. Because, yeah, you can watch a documentary and you can watch a podcast. But when you read a book, it's a completely different experience. And
Absolutely.
when you read a book that's written by someone from back in the day, like George M. James or LaRon Bennett Jr. or Cheikh Anta Diop or what's my other homie, John Henrik Clark, when you're reading from those individuals about our story and the grandeur of our story, because I will always say, yes, slavery was jacked up. It was a horrible, horrible time. But it's still a drop in the bucket compared to all our entire span of existence
Right.
and achievement in creating civilization on this planet. We did that.
We did that.
So these little minions like Trump and Elon Musty Musk, they ain't nothing. They just have money. That's the worst part. They're just sociopaths with wealth. But that will never, ever trump justice. That won't ever trump enlightenment and how that has to come to people, because we're in the era of the age of Aquarius. We're in the beginning of that. People are not as rose-colored glasses and wearing a veil. They're not really doing that anymore. The veil is off. The glasses are off.
Oh,
People want truth. People want knowledge. They want the truth.
right.
So as long as they want that truth, and as long as this regime doesn't really turn into a Nazi regime where they go from house to house and take everybody's books out and burn them, we might be okay.
Well, one thing I was saying, I've always said that
knowledge is always power.
It's always power. And most of us, I would probably say all of us, is walking around with the sum total of our knowledge in their back pocket, in their smartphones.
Of course.
All right. So you should have no questions, because any questions you have, with all of the resources that are out there now, you should be able to get an answer to anything that you're thinking about, anything that you're contemplating, anything that you want to
see that changing.
And they don't want it.
Changing a little bit though. Google is changing algorithms, and Google is changing information. You got to go to DuckDuckGo. Like, Google used to be for everything, but now Google is changing. So now we can't just rely on Google. Like and again, that's why I keep going back to these books.
You can't just say Google it.
Yeah, I mean,
my book ain't gonna glitch.
Right.
The book is the book.
The sources of all that development in technology, they really don't want you to get the information. You got the information by osmosis. They didn't realize that TikTok and all these Instagram and all this access to information on your cell phone will be used for that purpose, because they don't want you to have it.
I don't think that they are. That's a good point. I don't think that they ever calculated that.
No, I was on site the other day. So the guy says, "Oh, the Wright brothers invented the airplane." I say, "No, Frederick Page." The white guy said, "No, ain't such thing." I said, "Google it." And one kid that know how to put it on the computer on the thing, he put it up. Nat Patterson created the first car. You know, they don't want you to have this information. It was not meant for you to know this stuff. And so by osmosis, like the Bible says, if you dig a ditch, thinking that you're going to dig it for somebody to fall into it, he said dig two, because the next one you're going to fall into it. And that's how circumstances are happening now. They've been digging ditches for 400 years, and the ditches that they have built, they're falling into it. And they don't understand how we got here, because where we started from.
Of course not. But that's like a great grandchild trying to understand their great grandfather's life. You won't understand. You have no idea. And you need to just eat that. You need to just realize that these people have been on the planet for over 350,000 to damn near a million years.
Right. Because they got to be saying to themselves,
9,000 years old.
We've done everything. We've done everything we could. Nothing worked. We've made it against the law for you to read and write. We made it against the law that if we even find anybody that's helping you to read and write, they're going to be persecuted. All right. So the last thing that they want is for us to be, for people, period, to be educated.
They're delusional. And they're going to continue.
But another thing that I want to reiterate, because I know that race has its part in many things. However, racism was only constructed to keep other white people from taking other white people's money. And so if they focus more so on, well, at least I'm not black, at least I'm not enslaved, at least I blah, blah, blah. That's that mental white hierarchy. But it's flimsy as hell. It doesn't have any foundation. It's a
None
lie.
at all. None at all.
So when we, both sides, collectively, step into a consciousness where we understand that that's some bullshit, pardon my expression, that is absolutely no longer relevant, that we all have each other's blood at this point, like, it's irrelevant. And because of the way that they're doing it, I know they are showing poor, toothless white America that it was all a game. It was all a lie.
All of it.
Because now y'all done lost everything under the sun. You don't know what to do, right? And we continue to keep on keeping on. We'll make a lettuce sandwich. We're just lettuce and mayonnaise. We will do whatever to survive.
Right.
Always have, always will.
We're not jumping out of no windows during the Depression. What?
No.
But they always try to compare. You hear the Irish saying, well, we were slaves too. And this one was a slave back in here. And this one was a slave over there. And my thing is, listen, did that make slavery a good thing? Because y'all experienced it? Did that make it better? Because y'all been in it? No, that don't make it better. And I said the difference is Irish people were indentured servants. They got some kind of compensation for their labor. Maybe
and they were let go.
Mm-hmm.
They were let go after it was over.
Exactly.
Remember, I used to have a white student that would talk about that. Well, what's the big deal? Because white people were slaves too. And I said, you do not know anything about the enslavement, the chattel enslavement of Black people, whether they were Black and Native American from right here, which is the majority, or the little 4% that came from Africa in chains on a boat. Either way, your people never experienced any of that. You were never chained together, naked. You were never put in a position where you defecated and you urinated and vomited on each other. You were never in that situation. You were never in a situation where you had no clothes. You were never in a situation where you were used as a sex slave or a breeder at 11 years old as a girl. You were never in that situation. It's completely different. And your ass was able to go home when it was over. Chattel enslavement of Black people was perpetuitous from generation to generation to generation to generation. White folks ain't never had that. Nowhere on the planet.
And build an industry. It was an industry. It built an economy bigger than any economy in the world. Very much different when you talk about enslavement of other people in the past. There was no foundational economics stabilized in a society as large as the chattel slavery in America. So they comparing apples with
you will never win that comparison. White folks ain't have no whipping tree.
Right.
They didn't have a whipping tree. White people didn't have to worry about getting dressed up on Sunday and being hung from a tree after church.
Right.
Never. So
right.
I shoot that down with like a nuclear weapon every time because I'm like, that will never hold any water. There's no comparison from indentured servitude to chattel enslavement of Black people. There's nothing on the books like it anywhere.
That's their privilege that kicks in, that says, oh, I'm white and my people were slaves. That's their white mentality, their white privilege.
I'm like, y'all didn't even know how to wash your ass.
I mean, listen, and in their mind, if they was restricted from going out of the house or from leaving the living room, that's so traumatic to them. They think it's equal to what it is that we've gone through because they haven't been through anything. That's why they were in a panic. I hear the little white girl complaining about Nebraska. Oh, the farming is doing this, so we're not going to be able to do that, or we're not going to be able to do this, that, or the other. Work it out. Make it happen. Do
You
what you
did it
got to
to
do. But at the end of the day, you put that person in there in the office that you complaining about now.
with the intentions of hurting someone else.
Right.
It's all right.
So I
It's all right
don't
if
feel
you
sorry. I
right.
don't
If
have
you
any
right.
sympathy.
Exactly.
And
If you
I don't even give them credit. I don't even give them credit for winning anything. They didn't win shit.
Right.
That whole election was stolen.
Was stolen. We
yeah,
know it. We
yeah,
all
Stolen.
know who stole it.
yeah, yeah.
Millions and millions of black people were not able to vote in this election. Thousands of servicemen and women deployed overseas and in different states that they don't live in, they were denied. So
Purged.
they cheated. Ain't nobody win
Purged.
nothing.
Right. Right.
They know that. They
You
know
don't
that
know they cheated.
the investigative reporter from New York Times, he did an investigation. He saw that the machineries were manipulated. He saw how people like Queen Amina said were turned away from polling sites and was requested extra type of ID, and people were eliminated and people were disqualified and all the craziness happened,
And then
and
people were
millions
getting
of people.
arrested. People who voted and didn't know that they couldn't vote were getting arrested.
Exactly.
Like, yo, like seriously. And this is why we keep having these types of conversations, because we're not trying to incite violence, but we are trying to start some good trouble. Because if we don't know these things, if we're unaware, and that's one of my issues with us as a people, because we got every race, every different type of person on this planet inside of our veins. We make every other person on this planet. Black is first, and everything else is after that. And it just so happens that white folks is last. Just so happens that that's how it went out. Okay, fine. But when we do not know these facts about certain things, whether it's history, especially European history, I want my black people to please, please learn European history. Especially if you already know some black African history, that's wonderful. But please do yourself a favor and learn some nasty ass European history.
Right.
Learn about
Know
Donald
who you're
Trump's
dealing
great,
with.
great, great granddaddy and these people, how heinous they were, how disgusting they were. Learn that. Learn how they imitated and emulated the royalty that already existed from black people, how they stole that, then pushed us out the castle, right? Pushed us back down south, back down into Spain, back into North Africa, because they just wanted to just have their way. After 700 years of occupation by black people, to show you hygiene, medicine, mathematics, artwork, all kind of stuff, clothing, food, culinary thing. Come on. People
You
have
can you
got to understand the truth about this planet. That's
you
why
can
they're trying to take it away.
you can simply, I tell people, simply go on YouTube and put in crimes in France, crimes in Germany. The reason for crimes because they take you to the ghettos of Germany and France and Poland and Portugal, and you get to really see what it's like. Because when they
Right.
they show you the beautiful parts. They show you beautiful parts of Portugal. They show the beautiful parts of France. But when you go to the crimes of France, to Google it, go back to YouTube, you get all that nitty gritty, what people really don't see, the parts of Europe people don't see. And once you see that and how they interact with each other, then you understand why they don't have any consistency in their behaviors with you. And you have to be careful of them as well. And I'm not saying that all of them are bad, but I'm saying, like Muhammad Ali say, if 10 snakes are chasing you and you think there's one good one in there, you're going to open the
Right.
door for the other 9 to get you while you try to find that
Right.
one good one. No, sometimes you got to be careful. I'm very careful. I heard, the brother some black guy went fishing with some white guys, and he got down in this place, and some other guys came up and they decided they wanted to hang him on a
Yes,
tree.
I remember that.
And his friends did nothing if he didn't fight for himself, his friend did nothing to help him. Lucky some woman got the police and things he didn't get, he didn't get anything happen to him. But I'm just saying those types of things I don't do. I don't care how good friends I'm with you. I'm not going nowhere with all of y'all, and I'm just the one person by myself. A lot of people get so comfortable especially the young people. They go, "Oh, that's my friend. That's my
No,
friend."
it's true. That's what
You
happened
know,
to the young black boy up here in Pennsylvania. His co-workers were like, "Oh, let's go fishing." He's the only black one, and he come up dead. Dead.
how about the
So
girl
yes, you are
pushed the
so right
young?
with that.
How about the white girls with the young brother studying medicine, push him in the water, knowing he can't swim? Supposed to be his
Yep.
best friend, the girl
Yep.
that pushed him. He supposed to grow up with her from 5 years old. Supposed to been his best friend, and she pushed him. And her mother told her, "You knew he could not swim," and she
Swim.
came up with all
Yes.
these excuses. And all the other girls did nothing to jump in or get somebody to help this young brother. He didn't die in the water, but he went into a coma, and he's in the hospital, I believe, concurrently. And I'm just saying, I said to my kids when we were living in Connecticut, and my children experienced the same thing. Most of their friends in that neighborhood in the school was white, and I told my children, you cannot do. I told my son, because most of the boys, I told my son, you can't get out here and act the way they act. You can't get out here and just hang out with them and they
Oh,
acting
you
all the
bet
fool
not.
and they doing this thing. Because the first person they're gonna see is you. Coming
Is
home
you.
from school one day, he's walking with some white kids, they're shooting BB guns. The white lady comes out on her porch and she said, "Oh, stop, 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 stop." When she called the cop, the only person she recognized, and my son didn't, I know my son didn't, my son was 12, 11 or 12 at the time. I know my son didn't have no BB gun. The only person she saw was my son. And when the cops came, the only person they arrested was my son, 11, 12-year-old kid, right? And the way they treated him and what they said to him about, "Oh, you a bad nigga," whatever, things of that sort.
Yeah.
I knew, I just happened to know the commissioner of the police. And I went over there and I told him, "Bring that cop out and let me tell him." And he brought the cop out. The cop came out and said, "Let me tell you something. This one here, if you ever put your hands on him, you have to deal with me." And the commissioner said, "Oh, Ron, don't do that." I said, "No, I'm letting him know. It'll be going to be some big trouble. You touch my child. You understand?" But these are the circumstances that children don't understand. They
Oh
think
yeah.
everything is nice, everything is beautiful. I live in the same neighborhood. These are my friends. Their father do this, my father do that.
Right.
Their mother do this, my mother do that. It don't work that way. You know,
Mm-mm.
understand? But it's unfortunate. A good friend of mine, wealthy African American guy, he had his sons and his daughter were the smartest kids in America. They were on, I think, back in 2000 or maybe 1999. They were in world news all over the newspapers because they choose to go to community colleges in Connecticut. But they were the smartest kids academically, and his sons were also athletically talented. And so I said, "Man, it's a beautiful thing, man. Your kids are very smart." He said, "No, Ron." He said, "My kids do not understand the conditions in which they live in, and they don't understand what the society is really trying to would do to them because of the fact that they have this academic ability and they're well known." He said they don't understand racism from its intricate parts. And this is a brother that father was a traveling professor back in the South, and they had to, him and his brothers and them had to hide under the car because they would shoot the car at night when his father was driving through certain towns. So, the sundown towns or whatever. But I'm saying that
Yep.
he's right. There's a lot of young people that don't realize how delicate it is between death and life in the situation that we're in because of the
Oh yeah.
conditions of what we're dealing with. And I've seen so many now abuses of black men. The two brothers they killed on the lives on live television. And I'm saying this is getting to the point where the abuse is becoming, you talk about the Jim Crow days when I grew up, and things that we experienced back then. You're seeing that and more now because of the accomplishments that y'all talked about that we have achieved. They're trying to reback it and take it all back from us. And so it's serious.
Yeah.
It's extremely serious.
Extreme. We
Yeah.
have no idea sometimes. We think that because we find an individual white person that we like, and we believe that they like us. We believe that they're not like the other white people, okay? Because that's my friend. He don't believe what they believe. And I found out you don't know what he believed. You know what he tells you when he with you.
That's all you got.
You don't know what his conversation is when he get home around his cousin, around his brother, his mother and father. Feed into it. They say negative things, and they're not saying anything back to stop it or to defend it. Okay, all you know is what they tell you when they're together, and you would be surprised what may happen when you find yourself here and they deal with their constituents. All right, go to their home and see how their people treat you.
Right.
Because
Right.
even if they're your friend, if they people is treating you bad, you got to know that that apple ain't falling that far from the tree,
Mhm.
and that's that
For
person's
sure.
family, and they're going to go with what they know is human instinct. But
Yeah.
I think that Dr. Robinson said it earlier, the best quoting of Muhammad Ali. He said, "Listen, if I know I got 1,000 white people that like me, that's on my side, that's going to protect me, okay, but that 1,000 is in a barrel with 10,000 others that don't like me. What am I supposed to let them all in, hoping that 1,000 stand up for me? No, I'm gonna close the door, and
Hmm.
shut them all out. This way, I had to worry about it. I won't need you to protect me because I have not allowed myself to get into that environment where I need your protection. Sometimes we just got to play smart. And sometimes we just got to come to realizations that we just don't want to come to and accept it. I've come a long ways to accepting some things. And I will go to say that Queen Amelia is much more advanced than I am.
Mhm.
Because I remember back in the day, we be doing radio shows and I be talking about something and she be talking about white people and she don't see me cringing, right? Dr. Robinson, I be hiding behind the mic just cringing. You're like,
What the good book says,
Ah,
wise as the serpent, harmless as the dove. We have to have some wisdom
you
because
got to have some wisdom. But over
jealousy,
time, you begin to see
yeah.
what people are talking about. You know, because back then I was of the impression, in doing business that white people spend money, right? So I don't know if you remember Queen. I was like, let's put them on the flyer, and Queen used to be like, Doc, there's a there's a lot of white people on this flyer.
oh gosh.
Hey,
And I
listen,
be like,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
racist.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, but I'm
I
not.
remember them days. You had to do that. Yeah, yeah. When you in business, you had to do that back in them days. You sure enough,
You
right?
had to play the game.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
had to play the game. But now we know the game is rigged. Okay, and so we know now how to take the responsibilities into our own hands to do the things that we need to do for ourselves as the people. What we got to
better.
do is stick to it because
And we
of
got
all of these things that I have identified, and all of these things that I believe is bait. At
Oh,
the
you
we
know
end
can't
of
fall for that either.
right, and at
the
the
Can't
end
fall
of
human
the
for
day,
that.
we can't fall for it.
human
We,
nature, human
mhm.
nature, human nature. People are jealous. People are easy to get jealous, right? You a pretty girl, all the guys like you. You a handsome guy, all the girls, pay attention to you. It's easy. Jealousy is a part of human nature, right? People get jealous, and sometimes they might be your friend. They might consider you little this and that, but the jealousy, they will find some intricate way to make you feel less than. I tell people that when people discuss, oh, who's Native American, who is this, who is that, that's the same thing that the uh, 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 the white tea civilization have done to us. They always make us feel like we're not good enough. where you come from, how you get there. Oh, there's affirmative action. Oh, there's
Never
DEI.
worked on me.
You know what I'm saying? It's always got a lot of people, especially young people today. Not, my generation. We understood that, we had to accomplish certain things, and we had to have a thick skin, and we had to be stronger than average. We had to be older than. Sometimes I told people back in my day, you understood you might be 5 or 6, but we better think like you 18 and 21.
Yeah.
Some of us miss a childhood because we had to grow up early to survive. And so it's a different
Yes.
level generation. Now I tell these young people today, because they say, "Oh, I don't want to hear about Jim Crow. I don't want to hear about labor." Blah, 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 blah. I said, "But know something? If those things didn't happen, you wouldn't be where you at today. And trust me, you couldn't handle it. It'd been too much for you." You understand what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Because they're not aware. A lot of people are not aware of the common thing in America that they use against white people, against black people, is jealousy. Oh, look at them. Oh, they got all this, they got that. All of a sudden now we the richest, we the this, we the prettiest, we sing better, we dance better. But look at, they got everything. And then they're complaining. The few successful ones of us, they say, look how successful they are, and they still want more. And here you are, hardworking, every day, Joe, trying to make it, and they complaining with all their money and success, because that's what they bring up. But that's a part of psychology of creating an environment of jealousy. And I think that's a lot of the problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're good. I want to say that you are a better human being than me, because let me be talking to some young person. Let me be talking to some young person about my past or the past, and they want to tell me they don't want to hear nothing. They might get hit. They might get hit. I'm not even gonna play. They might just get it. They might get it. Because one thing that I have a very difficult time with is the fact that with today's society, Gen Z, Gen whoever, there's been this allowance of rudeness and uh like displacing other people's feelings and other people's experiences. And so when it
Disrespect.
happens by a young person, not only do I get ticked off, I also chuckle a little bit, because I'm like, you haven't done anything. How can you possibly sit in front of me with an attitude about what I'm trying to convey to you, and you have done nothing in your life yet? If you're not paying the mortgage, the rent with the car note, and everything else you got to deal with, and electricity and heat and gas and water and blah, 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 shut up. And so even when I talk to young people, but I let them know in a minute. And I know I have an air about me that's like, don't try it. And I've always kind of had that air. But I'm so serious, because we are in a moment right now where it is ground zero. Game on. Things are happening. And if we do not get conscious and move in a specific direction, we can hang that up. And these young people have to realize, especially if they're black or Latino and brown like me or whatever, because I'm both. This is what Dominican people look like, and this is what Jamaican people look like. I'm just saying, we have got to get it together. And the way you have that, to me, is similar like in Africa and in ancient Aboriginal American societies, where you have the clan mother, who's the head of everyone. Then you have the clan father. You have people that have certain responsibilities and positions to keep everybody else in line, especially the children, because we know without the children, we have no future. So I know that our society is geared towards malevolent behavior, greed, dishonesty, being deceitful, being mean, tricking people, playing games on people, pranks, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, don't bring none of that to me, or you gonna get the fire. Don't bring none of that to me. I'm not about any of it. I don't want to be teased. I don't want to be played with. I don't want to be taken advantage of. I don't want to be lied to. Why? Because I don't deceive. I don't lie. I do not. I don't do that. So don't bring that to me. And I try to tell young people, don't get in the habit of thinking that way. You will lose badly. You know what I mean? It's sad, because they get to be a little bratty. And I'm like, I had a mother and a father who were not afraid to put their hands on us if we got out of line. Period. And nothing wrong with that. I am a believer in corporal punishment. I don't believe in switches and extension cords, but a little pow pow every now and again. Yes, because you need to learn what you can and can't do. And you're going to remember it after I do this to you.
Right.
You're going to remember, I should not lie to daddy ever again. As a matter of fact, I shouldn't lie at all.
There you go.
This hurts. I don't like this. It hurts. So,
I don't like
you know
this.
what I'm saying?
This is
But
uncomfortable.
I see people have children. They don't discipline their children.
Mm-mm.
And I'm like, when are you waiting for this miraculous moment to discipline your child? I said, do you know your child is black? You sending this child out in the world with this jacked up attitude and, this whole, what is it? Like, people owe you something. People don't owe you nothing, boo-boo. The entitlement is insane.
And then you have the parents that go to the excessive.
You have to parent.
You got the parents that go to the excessive rule of discipline, and they get too out of control. You understand what I'm saying? Abusive, they get to the abusive level of, because I see parents. I saw a lady went to the school. I think her son was 6 or 7. He did something, and she went in that class and she started cursing. She grabbed him, went outside, and the teacher sitting there watching this. And I'm saying, you guys are supposed to be responders and protectors, because he's on school grounds. And she just grabbing up this boy and she just beating the hell out, beating the mess out of him. And I'm like, that's a little bit too much. That's a little bit too much, because some of these parents, you see them, they got something going on in their own life. And now they're going to take it out on the child. So a lot of dysfunctional families go on too. Now these families.
No, this is true.
Very true.
I know that was part of the reason why they started to, ban corporal punishment, because of the excessiveness. And, as a former social worker
it's like,
in New York City,
you know what I'm saying?
The abuse that I have seen as a social worker in New York City alone is astounding. Mm-hmm. So I definitely, I get that 195%. I get that. But I do not want people to parent their children like, oh, you're my friend and my buddy.
Of course not.
Because when you mess up, I got to correct you when you mess up. I'm not trying to kill you.
Can't be both.
But I got to.
Right.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? These parents now, they are just giving in. They're on their own phone too much. And they won't take the little phone or the tablet away from the child because they don't want to hear the child. I'm like, well, you had the child. Mm. My parents will say in a minute, you're under punishment or you're going to be disciplined because of blah, blah, blah. But you're going to be disciplined up in this house so that the police don't get you in the street. That was what so much of that was about.
Absolutely.
Trying to make sure we came home alive every day after school.
And a lot of these parents are growing up with their kids. They're young. All right. A lot of these grandmothers are young. A lot of these mothers and fathers are young.
Nowadays,
with their kids, and they
grandma 35.
Dig it. They want to do their thing as well. And so, like my grandmother told me, she said, let me tell you something. Your children might not listen to what you say all the time. She said, but they definitely will mimic what you do.
What you do.
So be a good image. Because if you're not a good image and you start to discipline them at a certain age, they're going to question you. Well, you tell them.
I think that there's some part that all children do that. Like we admire our parents because they are the first example of leadership and direction. Where we admire them, we accept them, we follow their tutelage, we lean and draw off of every word that they say until we get old enough to start making judgments for ourselves. Then we start judging our parents. Well, you said all my life, you've been telling me so, but yeah, you do this, that, or the other. Right? We do. We all do it. I did it to my parents.
I'm gonna just throw in here real quick. I couldn't say that. That woman
Right.
died without me saying that to her. She would have knocked me out if I ever did that to her. My mother would have
Really?
knocked me out.
This
I,
is
I
But she
didn't I
got
didn't
me.
have that
I had.
I didn't have that pleasure either. But let me tell you something. My sons used to say to me, "Oh, Dad, why don't we go out and drink on your birthday? Well, I'm going to do this on your." I said, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to these. I don't go to these places. I know when I was young, I did what I did, but I ain't gonna do it with you. You understand?
they
Because
were honky tonks
when
back
you
then.
get dig it, when you get messed up, if you started drinking and getting out of control or drugging, whatever the addiction you might take up, and I'm disciplining you now, the first thing they're gonna turn around and say, well, you did it with me. You know what I'm saying? So far as I'm concerned, as far as you're concerned, I don't do those things, and definitely ain't gonna do it with you. They want to come in
Right.
front. We're gonna have some tea or drink a soda or something, but me and you ain't hanging out like that. You understand?
Right.
Don't get so comfortable. And nothing with children. Children get comfortable with stuff and then get you in the turmoil. And when you want to say something, they say, well, da 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 da. Back in your day, what you did, this and that. A lot of times, as a parent, you might say to your son, well, listen, you shouldn't do this. And why? Because I've experienced that. All right. And it doesn't be good. I told my sons, listen, do not lay with someone if you cannot be with that person if a child comes involved, because that's what hurts a lot of children, a lot of families, and a lot of relationships. Because you with somebody is just for fun. You have no interest in her. She has no interest in you. But now you got to deal with this child, with a person that you have no common grounds with, or you really don't like, or you don't want to be around. And now here comes the other problems. And so sometimes, you explaining things before they happen, but they'll say, well, you did this, that, and the other. Well, they got nothing to do with what I did. I'm telling you the right way to do it because I've experienced it. You know what
Right,
I'm saying?
because I did it,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm letting you know you don't have to
Right,
go that route.
right, right.
Right, but
It's
Mm-hmm.
and right now you have this thing where everybody's a partner. You hear men say, "Oh, my partner." And I told my niece, her man, they got a couple of kids together, and he said he called her partner. They in this new era of partners. So I said to her, I said, you know what a partner is? A partner is somebody that when you decide the business ain't running well, you can dissolve the business. You dig where I'm coming from? It's psychological. Why everybody calling each other partner? Because when I'm not ready to deal with you no more, baby, I'm going to dissolve the business and I'm going to walk about my business. I'm going about my way. Uh,
well, I
Nick
mean,
Kent,
in all fairness, that sounds like a divorce. So,
yeah. I mean, people. Well, today most people, I found out some, back in the day, like people would be together forever, not married, have 6 kids or something, and they decide, you know what, let's get married. Let's legitimize this relationship, whatever. They get married and they get divorced a year later because they've been so used to the relationship that they had. And then they get divorced and go right back to the relationship they had from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Because it becomes common to you and more comfortable. It's very difficult, not difficult, but if you're not really loving somebody, or you're not into the a lot of people might want kids and stuff like that, but they're not really into the fathership, the mothership type of thing. It's very difficult to get yourself involved with somebody on that level. If you, in your heart you're not there. You might love that person, you might love the relationship, but you don't love them to the point where you want to be that involved or have an extensive relationship with them. And that's what you have today. That's why people jump in and out of relationships, and nobody wants to marry. No, most rich women say, well, I don't need a man. All I need a man make me a baby and go about his business. So it's going back to a time where not going back to a time where it's a time now where nobody wants to be in a committed situation, that you have to go to full whatever amount of years it is that people back in the day you be married forever. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't want that, so they get these partnerships where they can dissolve them, and then maybe the partnerships, maybe there's an open situation like Nick Cannon. I think got 12 kids now, and
I
beautiful
don't know
women.
about Nick and his 12 kids. Right now, what I know is that when I turn on the news, I get very concerned about stuff that I see going on. Uh, just as to where we are. So, listen, I do want to say this, that what I do see that's happening, that's working, people, and I want to congratulate us on this endeavor, and that is that I see that we are beginning to understand the game, right? Now, I want to get off the other topic, but I want to get back over here. We're beginning to understand the game. And we're beginning to see and understand that we don't have to go out on the street and riot. We don't have to go out on the street and protest. We don't have to do any of those things. You know what we got to do? Keep doing what we're doing. Keep collectively moving our money. All right?
Oh,
Listen
yeah.
to me. Listen. I've been saying for years and years and years that the key to all of this is collective economics. We are handedly bringing down corporations like Target. They are losing money for real. No joke. They are feeling our wrath. Walmart is feeling our wrath. Tesla is feeling our wrath. So we see we have a formula that works. All right?
Yep.
We got a formula that works. We just got to keep on top of that formula. We just got to perfect it. Right?
Absolutely.
So we see what is happening when we learn to pull our money out of a company. All right? Cut them off. We're going to send no more money over there. What we're going to do is we're going to take all our little bit of dollars, put them together, and we're going to go over here. Y'all don't want to support us? You don't want to do DEI? Now, here's the funny thing. When you look at it, most of us wasn't the recipients of DEI anyway. Mm-hmm. It turned out to be mostly white women.
Just like Civil Rights Act.
Right. Mm-hmm. So they're the ones, right? But your actions was taken against us. You did what you did because of us, although they're the ones that's reaping the wrath from it. Because you thought it was us. And it turns out it was your cousin Billy Bob and Betty Sue and Mary Jane that is affected by these. You didn't know that, though. You didn't know that because you looking at TV. You didn't know that because you believe in what they're telling you on the news. You didn't know that because you got in your mind that there is no way that these niggas is better than me.
Surprise.
Hello.
And see, we always knew.
Hello, darling.
We always we always knew that my generation always knew that there was nothing they would do for us. There was nothing that they developed for our success. There's always been some catch-22. And that's what I'm telling the young people. They're not going to give you nothing unless they benefit. They give you $1, they make $100. They're going to come from
nothing.
Right. Everything they've done. Right. Everything
you need to know that even the people in this country that's making the most money, it's those that are entertaining white folk.
Right. right, right. Shaq, what's his name? Papa John says something on the phone about Ninja, and
Mm.
he loses his. They so-called knock him out of the presidency of his company and the
Of his own
chairmanship.
company. Uh-huh.
Shaq comes in and Shaq says, "Well, he's not a bad guy. He just made a mistake." He ends up with 39 franchises of this man's business, bringing back what? Bringing back the Black community to participate as consumers of his products. Okay, it's always dollar bills, y'all. An old Jewish man told me, when you want to know a problem, follow the money. And when you follow the money, it takes you right back to those who started it. You dig what
Well,
I'm
I
saying?
didn't know that old Jewish man, but I do know Wu-Tang. And they say cream, cashews, everything around me.
Around me.
Cream your holla holla
Get the
dollar
dollar
bill,
bill,
y'all.
y'all.
There you go. There you go. There you go. It look like somebody's been missing the lyrics. They listening to Kendrick Lamar. Brothers
Oh,
put it right on display. If you don't catch it, you're gonna lose it. You dig what I'm saying? But it's there. It's there.
that was such a very, I know we talked about it a little bit last week, but that was just such a compelling performance, because the fact that it was made in the image of a game,
Mm-hmm.
right? It had the whole
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation controller thing. But then he did all these little parts that let you know who he was talking to and who he was talking for. Even when he got to the point talking about, they're not like us. They're not like us.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God.
Right. Right. We
He set
understood
that field on fire.
at that point, we all knew that this wasn't just about Drake. Right? This was not just about Drake. This is bigger than Drake. We let y'all know y'all not like us. You're not like us. You may want to be us, but you're not like us. There's
Right. And
something
you
special
can't
in
be.
our DNA.
You
Okay? There's
can't
a
be.
divinity, right? There's a divinity in our DNA.
Yes,
The
there is.
scriptures say so. Prophecies say so. So you can't be, all you can do is emulate us. Wear your clothes like we wear our clothes. Try to sing your music like we sing our music. You can just only emulate us. And there's something about us. And I told somebody that if we as Black people put on a baseball cap and turn it around, the whole world will be wearing their hat backwards,
Which happened.
which exactly happened.
And they love it. They love that "Not Like Us" song. They dancing all over the place. They doing it at their wedding, their bar mitzvah, their bath mitzvahs. They doing it all over the place. White tea America, they love it. They love it. They love it. And they trying to break it down, and they trying to tell you what it means and stuff like that.
Right.
And so
Right.
he did a marvelous job. Marvelous job.
I tell you what
Absolutely.
though, I'm surprised at the number of people number of white folk that say they never heard about 40 acres and a mule. What is that? Well, I've never heard of 40 acres and a mule. They were supposed to give African Americans 40 acres. Oh my God, what happened? That is horrible. You know,
Good imitation. Good imitation.
And that's why we keep saying
I heard
stay
all of
woke.
that after the Super Bowl. They didn't know about
And
40 acres and a
stay
mule.
woke. He trying to kill woke. Woke is us. Stay woke.
Right.
Oh! You guys had a Black Wall Street, and what? They what? Oh
Right.
my God!
Right.
They had a street. Oh my God! They had all these things, and they bombed. Oh my God!
Right.
Thank you.
Listen.
Thank you for
And Emmett Till.
Good.
Emmett
Listen.
Till was like the shot that was heard around the world. When they
Right.
saw his picture in the newspaper, white people in England and Spain and everywhere were like, oh my God, what is going on in America?
Exactly.
Unfortunately, some of the same things is going on in America that was going on when Emmett Till was assassinated, beat to death, beat like an old rug till he
And
died.
drowned.
Right? Some of these things are still going on today, right here in America.
Yes, indeed.
Let's not
Yes.
kid ourselves. All right.
Oh
We
no, we
still
better not.
finding there seems to be an insurgent or resurgent of white folk trying to hang black people. Okay.
It never went away, really.
Don't get it. Not only did it never go away, you know what I tell people? Lynching, all right, and I think history will back me up on this. Lynching did not become a thing until after slavery.
Yes. Until after we were free.
Until after we was free.
Yes, lynching was the weapon of Jim Crow. That was their weapon in Jim Crow was lynching. It caught on like wildfire. Everybody was doing it. And you could not go down the road without coming up upon several or one black person hanging from a tree.
Mm-hmm.
The worst part about that, I can't even say the worst part because the whole thing is absolutely horrible. But when Billie Holiday wrote Strange Fruit.
Strange Fruits, yes.
Most people don't know that Billie Holiday was killed in a hospital because either the chief of police or the governor wanted her to stop singing the song. And she wouldn't. So they arrested her and handcuffed her to a bed in a hospital and let her die. That's how Billie Holiday died. Most people don't know that. It's over a song.
And Lena Horne always said, you know, she never referenced back to Billie Holiday, but she always said the fear of singing the music the way you want to do it. She said the fear of it, you know, back in the days. And so, you know, reference to things like that. And so we know, and that's why I said, you know, be ye always aware. You know, you don't get so comfortable that you think, don't get so rich and so whatever you think that is, that you feel that you know, you above everything. We all here together. I tell brothers and sisters all the time, whether you come from Caribbean, Africa, wherever wherever you come from, if we all if we all not the sneeze, we all going to get pneumonia. And so when we understand that we're connected, there's a reason why it's so easy to call the Caribbean, to call Africa, and to talk to brothers and sisters anytime you want and get information. And we're so connected now, politically, socioeconomically. We know what's happening to our brothers and sisters in Africa and the Caribbean, and we have to be concerned with one another. They want coming
worldwide.
From the day that we stop being, and I was on a site with Caribbean brothers and sisters and African brothers and sisters, and I said, listen, I'm concerned about you. I hope you're concerned about me. That's my message to our people. Be concerned about one another. Like you're concerned about your mama, your daddy, your children. Let's be concerned about each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, because we always believed that we were all a family.
Amen.
That is an ancient African philosophy that we are this human family. And as melanin dominant people, we are basically related all over the world. And we got to move and act like that and greet each other that way. Like that's one of the problems. If we can ever, just like you said, Reverend, if we can ever just come together on the simple fact that we're Black. That's it. I don't want to hear about, oh, I'm Indian, or I don't want to hear it. If you're darker than a paper bag, you Black. I don't give a damn where you from, where you at. If you are darker than a paper bag, you're Black. Enjoy it. And let's be one.
And use it as an instrument of empowerment, right? And because you know, I hear in certain circles that I'm in, I often hear, well, you shouldn't use the term Black because Black is not a race; it's a status within
I was saying that too.
The construct. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but I ain't playing in this construct. All right. So they're Black don't mean a damn thing to me. Or how they try to classify. I don't buy into their concept. Bump their concept. Okay? We Black as a means of us all coming together. That no matter where you are, if you have is of this experience, let's go.
Mm-hmm. And we're here together, right here in this North America. We're all here. And if we can't be examples of unity, what we're going to tell brothers and sisters back home, right? What we're going to tell brothers and sisters in the Caribbean and Africa, if they looking here, and if they don't see us unified here, they're gonna say ain't gonna happen.
Right.
So we're here together. If we can unify here, it can happen, all across the world. And so I tell brothers and sisters, we got to start right here where we at with each other. We got to start with each other, start with our own self. I got to take care of my mentality, how I feel about others, as well as they take care of their mentality, feel about me. That's something that nobody can take away from us. How you react with each other, how you feel about each other.
Right.
That's why I throw love out there. Because I like everybody else, you get that resistance and you throw back. But I try to throw the love out there because I'm trying to bring the concept of it, to the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to take the first step. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I'm
moving and doing in it. I am moving and doing in love. I am greeting my brothers and sisters wherever we are. I mean, I greet everybody anyway. Even if you're white, I still say hi. Because that's the kind of community that I live in. But we have to come together. And I do think it does need to be on a global level. Like if we can snap into like a global consciousness where we're like, oh, okay, we're together in that energy. Because that's what we're going to need. Because no matter what, the majority of the planet is melanin dominant. Melanin recessive is the lowest numbers on the planet. So just because they have the money, okay, but you don't have what we have. You don't have this. You're not bathing in melanin everywhere. Melanin is a consciousness that allows us to interact with the cosmos and the sun and each other and every ray of light. Nobody else can do that except for us. So while they're upset, angry, frustrated, and confused, keep all that over there. Because I know what we're rocking with. I know who we are. We are the children of the universe. I know that. That is why we were chosen to be the first human being on this planet. The fact that the Black woman was chosen to be the progenitor of life on Earth. Let's go. That is the magic of us. And
right.
no Massa, no slaveholder, no Trump, no Musk. None of them can hold a candle to what we have and who we are. None of them. That's why they're so upset.
Because they know that.
Y'all, because they don't have your genitalia. They all mad at y'all. They mad.
That's
and
true.
now they're start raving mad.
I had nothing to do with that.
I say this: the Rolls Royce is a car everybody want to copy, and when they can't copy it, they get mad.
And they want to flatten the tires.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. There you
break
go.
the windows. Right.
And break the window. All of that.
Right. I'm like, if we just stay tight, if we can be the fist and come together.
Right.
Like nobody nowhere will have anything on us. We see what's going on in Africa with Traore and Lumumba. They doing their thing.
They're doing their thing. They're doing their thing.
So
we ought to be a part of it as those that are in the 6th region, okay, in the diaspora. We have a role to play, even in that. So, I'm glad you brought that up. You're absolutely right. They are doing
we have a role to play right here. We got a role to play right here because this is our country. They are the invaders.
Right.
We are the original inhabitants of this hemisphere. Like, if we can ever get on our soapbox and go off. Because if I could ever either write a letter, send an email, or say in person anything to Donald Trump or an Elon Musk, I'd shred their asses. You don't have what we have. And now you're going against the children of the divine most high. All you're doing is making a real painful bed for yourself.
Now, listen, one of the things we didn't talk about earlier, and is this, that they're doing this whole birthright thing, citizenship. Okay?
And losing.
And who has the right to be here based off of how they were born into the nation. All right.
Uh-huh.
And what the underlying current is that they're using this to go back into history. And we're going to see what happened, but this is the talk. To try to now come back and say, oh, we immigrants, okay? And that
As black
uh,
people, you're saying.
as black people,
Right. And they're wrong. Go ahead.
okay?
We got history on our side for that.
Right. We got history on our side. But the talk in the underground is that this is the objective. This is what they're trying to do.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And one of the reasons that they're trying to do it, they're getting rid of, they try to do this mass deportation. And look at what's going on with that. Did you see the reports of all of the housing projects that is just on hold? Because they don't have no workers. They don't have no people to put the roofs on. They don't have no people to put the windows in. They don't have none of the things that we
Right.
had before. Do we
The
have now?
farms too. And the farms as well.
Right, with the farm too. Right.
Food is
Everything.
rotting.
Right. And so it's going to be real interesting. But here's what I
Exceptionally
know.
so.
We see now as a people what the power of our money. Okay. I mean, those of you that are listening under the sound of my voice, I encourage you, go out, do the research, look at what we have effected. It is working. Let's stay on top of it.
Yep.
Let's continue to have these caravans where we all get in the car, the van, and go over to so and so store in business
And just buy.
and buy and support that business. All right. Tomorrow maybe we do someplace else, and the day after we do someplace else, or next week we do someplace else. But we have the power. I'll
Very
say
much
this in
so.
closing, that it is said that within the so-called Jewish community, monies that's coming into the community circulate 26 times before it leaves the community. It is said that in the Asian community, the money circulates 16 times before it leaves the community. Within the black community, within our community, it is said there is no circulation. Not 20, not 26, not 16, nothing. You see, we got about 6 hours. We got 6 hours with that money before we start giving it to some other community. All right.
Yes. Yes.
So this way we are perpetual consumers because of how we've been handling our money. But now we see what's going on, and we can chart the results, and we see that if we organize our current, our currency, which is a current, we can navigate and do whatever the hell we want to do. And that there is nothing and nobody that can hold us down. Nothing. Nobody. All right, we got to get out of here. Our time is up. Queen, last words, please.
Well, I just want to wish everyone a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, enjoy yourself. I also want to encourage the family to go to julo.com, JULO. It's an all black owned website with black products, as well as shopthehood.com. If you need furniture, there's right at home. Huh? If you want furniture or artwork or lamps or furnishings for your home, you can go to Right at Home Atlanta, or ITE at Home Atlanta. It's a black furniture company. Um, my friends have their own store also in Brooklyn. That's peaceandriot.com. Um, we just have to work with each other. Just, take some time, and spend with each other. Because I'm about to go on Julo and get some detergent, because they have detergent, to wash your clothes with. So I'm gonna buy some stuff from Julo and support my people. Um, there's another one. What is her name? It's either African Unicorn or something unicorn, but it's the black owned company again. So black owned companies do exist, and we can support them. We do not have to give our money to Procter and Gamble. We don't have to give our money to all these other companies who clearly supported the president that's in the White House right now. We don't have to do that. I haven't shopped at Walmart or Target since after Election Day.
Mm,
Okay.
absolutely.
And even before then, I didn't go in Walmart too much. And it's right by my house. I don't go there. I make the conscious decision to drive past there. I don't go there.
Right. No, you have
And we
to.
can just make the conscious decision to make another choice. That's all we have to do. But
Absolutely.
have a weekend, everyone.
Dr. Robinson is our guest commentator. We thank you for coming with us today. We want to give you the last word. We're not going to really give you the last word because I got to say something before we go off the air, but you can go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that unity is power. You're looking for power, you look for economic power, you're looking for social power, you're looking for political power. Unity is power. That's where it all began. So let's get together. And in the words of a wise man so many years ago, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And we understand now more than ever. And you have to be the example. Don't wait for somebody to do right or to do better or to connect with another brother and sister from over the aisle. You make that connection. You be the person that step out first. Show love, and love will come back to you. That's what
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so
Edwin.
much. Thank you, everybody. Listen, so we knew at this, and we are people of a certain age, and so we don't know all about everything that
y'all all
happens.
babies now.
That's all right. It was great. It was great.
With this social media stuff, but I do know this. Like, subscribe, share. You like that? I got that part right. Like,
Good
subscribe,
job.
and share. Give a thumbs up if you appreciate these shows, these broadcasts. If this information has been helpful to you, if you learned something that you didn't learn before, show your support. We got the Cash App up there. $, JW Born to Win. Show us some love. Help keep us on the air. These programs are not free. All right. So money got to come from somewhere, and we hope that they're beneficial to you, and that you're able to support us and give us some of your help. Again, our Cash App is $ JW Born to Win. All right. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. Good night. Tell your friend, tell your neighbor to tune in, to listen to the show, share the show, and do all that other good stuff. And we'll be back on next Friday, ready to go. You've been listening to the Neo Report Unfiltered with your host, Dr. J.W. Wimborne, and our lovely Queen Amina. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Peace.